Good morning, evening, or night. Wherever you are, welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Friday, 20th June 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. Saudi Arabia's economy is robust, with bank credit surpassing $833 billion. A 16.5% increase year over year as of April 2025. New credit card regulations are being enforced by the Saudi Central Bank, SAMA, limiting fees, cash withdrawals, and foreign purchases. Businesses with earnings exceeding $10.70 million must file VAT returns by the end of June. A Saudi prince has initiated a $5 billion fund to enhance food security within the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. The luxury market is expected to grow significantly between 2025 and 2034, and gold demand is rising despite higher prices. Technologically, Saudi Arabia is investing $600 billion to create a tech hub reminiscent of Silicon Valley, featuring 18,000 NVIDIA GPUs and 6.6 gigawatts of power. Venture capital activity is expected to focus on AI, agritech, and fintech. Saudi Arabia is also pursuing international collaborations in defense, engaging in military training and cooperation discussions with South Korea. Increased oil tanker loadings reflect concerns that the Israel-Iran conflict could impact export facilities. The Vision Company, Middle East, VCM, and ENOA have entered into a carbon credit agreement. Airbus will supply A350 aircraft to the kingdom's new airline. In international relations, Bangladesh has requested Saudi Arabia to maintain its Hajj quota of 1,000 pilgrims per agency. Visa issues between Saudi Arabia and the UAE are causing concern, prompting the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LECI, to seek governmental intervention. A journalist was executed in Saudi Arabia after serving 7 years in prison for their online posts. The United Arab Emirates, UAE, alongside Saudi Arabia, is anticipated to see increased economic growth. Brewed Holdings is establishing a regional mental health platform that includes both the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Visa complications between the UAE and Saudi Arabia remain an area of concern. Globally, Americas Securities, LLC, has increased its holdings in the iShares, MSCI Saudi Arabia, ETF NYSE. United States. The U.S. refrained from military intervention in the Middle East, leading to fluctuating trading on Wall Street and a decrease in oil prices. Despite this, US oil producers increased hedging to profit from initial oil price surges after Israel's alleged attack on Iran. The prices later fell as US sanctions reduced escalation concern. US yields increased alongside a stock market rally as Trump weighed a response to Iran. The U.S. may revoke chip waivers for technology exports to China, sparking concerns about the impact on chip makers. Mitsubishi plans to invest $3.90 billion in US solar energy. Mazda Sun proposed a $1 trillion US AI hub to TSMC and the Trump team. TikTok is collaborating with US Vice President Vance on a potential agreement, as its status in the U.S. remains unresolved. China. Huawei is pushing forward China's AI development through its silicon strategy, despite US sanctions. The company launched Harmony 6 new AI models and the Cloud Matrix 384 AI rack architecture. The U.S. is reportedly considering rescinding chip waivers for technology exports to China. Australia. The Australian stock market concluded the week with no change, with the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, CBA, achieving a record market capitalization of all $306 billion, as its stock value grew. However, the market's 5-week winning streak ended and subsequently decreased due to the influence of global conflicts on the ASX 200 and all ordinaries indices. New details surfaced regarding crypto regulations in Australia, planned for 2025. That Hong Kong. Morgan Stanley projects a recovery in Hong Kong's residential property sector, anticipating an increase in home values in the latter half of the year. Huawei. Stock market optimism is high, with Europe showing stronger performance than the US stock market. Russia's Gazprom Neft anticipates that strategic reserve purchases from the US and China could counteract an oil surplus. Investor sentiment has been highly volatile, influenced by escalating tensions between Iran and Israel and the looming possibility of US military intervention. President Trump's announcement that he would decide within 2 weeks whether to strike Iran triggered uncertainty. This contributed to a drop in oil prices as investors sought safe haven assets, causing U.S. Treasury yields to decline. Wall Street has been closely monitoring the conflict, leading to significant volatility in the stock market. Initially, stock futures fell sharply due to the rising tensions, but a relief rally occurred when Trump delayed his decision, suggesting a potential opening for negotiations and diplomatic efforts by European officials to de-escalate the conflict. This delay allowed it to stabilize, resulting in mixed global stock performance and lower oil prices overall. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq experienced initial declines, compounded by uncertainty surrounding Federal Reserve rate policy and Trump's contemplation of military action against Iran. However, the Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq later rebounded as the market began to factor in the delayed decision and the potential for Federal Reserve rate cuts. Furthermore, the possibility of negotiations with Iran regarding uranium enrichment limits further bolstered stock futures. Trump's internal conflict between a potential Iran strike and his America First promise has added a layer of complexity to the market's reaction. India's financial markets presented a mixed picture this week, with foreign investors adding $12.9 crore into Indian equities, though June saw net outflows of $4,192 crore due to global uncertainty. The Nifty 50 index increased by 1.29%, with financial stocks contributing substantially to the gains. Market trends are being shaped by the Israel-Iran conflict and the potential India-US trade deal, which could lead to reversals on Dalal Street. Algorithmic trading is significantly changing the Indian market, necessitating adaptations for retail investors. Heighten papers and foam shares are currently trading below their initial issue price after their market debut. Trading giants are expanding their operations in India, drawn by the perception that the country is insulated from potential disruptions related to U.S. policies, leading to heightened demand for skilled personnel and upgrades to exchanges. Prudential plc's CEO reaffirmed the company's strategic dedication to India during a meeting with Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The market regulator has approved modifications to derivative expiry dates. From an economic standpoint, an advisor to the Indian government expects minimal inflationary effects from oil price volatility. Some Indian pharmaceutical manufacturers may face adverse effects if the U.S. implements import tariffs on pharmaceuticals. Tesla plans to inaugurate showrooms in India in July, showcasing EVs manufactured in China. Socially, 1 in 4 Indians now depend solely on mobile phones for all their digital needs, including entertainment and social media. There is also an increasing trend of Indians depositing funds in Swiss banks. Forbes India has released its ranking of the top 10 insurance companies in India, based on market capitalization. Shifting focus to South Korea and Saudi Arabia, the two nations are enhancing their military collaboration through joint committee meeting. China's consumer market is showing signs of recovery, with robust sales during the 618 festival, with electronics, beauty products, and pet care items leading the way. The People's Bank of China held steady on loan rates. Hong Kong residents can now remit more yuan daily, thanks to a new quota. There has been a notable decline in Chinese magnet exports to the US in May, tied to restrictions on rare earth elements. According to a study, trust in AI is highest in China and lower-income nations. AI avatars in China are commercially successful, generating millions in sales. A British warship passing through waters claimed by China led Taiwan to heighten its alert level. Tesla is set to construct China's largest grid-scale battery power plant. Meanwhile, the US may end waivers for TSMC and other companies, resulting in a drop in chip stocks. Now, Masayoshi Son of SoftBank has proposed a $1 trillion AI hub in the US to compete with China in the AI arena. Israel's recent air attacks on Iran have heightened tensions in the region, triggering significant unease in international markets. Israeli President Herzog stated that the strikes aimed to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, avoiding regime change as a goal. The ripple effects of the conflict caused the S&P 500 to decline, with oil prices exhibiting volatility. Market uncertainty surrounding the Iran-Israel situation contributed to a slowdown in both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq. WHAM. Asian markets showed mixed performance, and the Australian Securities Exchange ASX also saw a decrease, reflecting investor apprehension. The crisis emphasized the significance of energy stocks in investment portfolios. Amidst these geopolitical tensions, Coinbase shares experienced a rise, driven by anticipation of forthcoming U.S. stablecoin regulations. Turning to Russia, President Vladimir Putin has suggested that there is no immediate need for major oil-producing nations to intervene in the oil market, despite the ongoing tensions between Israel and Iran. His statement reflects a confidence in the current market stability, even amidst geopolitical uncertainty. Russia, as a major oil producer, continues to monitor the situation, but does not foresee an urgent need for intervention at this time. Russia. President Vladimir Putin is focused on preventing a recession, highlighting the Russian economy's resilience. However, Sberbank CEO cautions that high interest rates and a strong ruble could negatively impact the economy. The Russian tax authority is pushing for the legalization of cryptocurrency exchanges. Russia is also looking to strengthen its military technical ties with allied nations. Regarding the situation in Ukraine, Russia expects an agreement on the next round of peace talks soon. Putin has clarified that Russia seeks recognition of the current situation, not Ukraine's surrender, in negotiations. Russia has also warned that any use of tactical nuclear weapons by the US in Iran would be disastrous. Returning foreign businesses will be closely monitored by the Russian government. The EU is delaying plans to lower the price cap on Russian oil due to ongoing Middle East tensions. Japan is navigating a complex economic shift, according to a Huawei Financial Management Research Institute report. This shift includes a strategic emphasis on securing rare earth mineral resources, a possible blueprint for Western countries aiming to lessen dependence on China. Overcoming China's established dominance poses a hurdle. Meanwhile, the CEO of a Japanese chemicals company is facing investor resistance in a fight to keep their job. Japan Pure Chemical also announced new stock options designed to encourage company expansion. Japan's CPI inflation rate jumped to 3.7% in May 25, affecting cryptocurrency values and broader financial markets. The Nikkei stock market index experienced a downturn, influenced by anxieties surrounding the ongoing Middle East conflict. A NASA spacecraft orbiting the moon captured images of the crash site of a Japanese lunar lander. South Korea is set to approve Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ETFs in the latter half of 2025, according to the Financial Services Commission's (FSC) proposed roadmap. This development aligns with the nation's space agency's ambition to create a reusable launch vehicle by 2035. Meanwhile, retailer HomePlus secured court approval for its sale plan amidst economic challenges. The rise in cryptocurrency investments among young South Koreans is notable, possibly fueled by financial pressures. Strengthening international ties. Military cooperation between South Korea and Saudi Arabia is also growing, highlighted by a recent joint committee meeting. Canada's stock markets took a break as the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSX Venture Exchange, the TSX Alpha Exchange, and Montreal Exchange all closed in observance of Canada Day. Though trading was paused, the S&P TX Composite Index had previously closed slightly lower, decreasing by a mere 0.03%, showing the market's stability with a nearly flat week. Meanwhile, a Canadian bill intended to expedite project development has been approved, despite objections from Indigenous communities. Simultaneously, Canada remains engaged in tariff discussions with both the EU and the United States, seeking to navigate complex trade relations. China's trade officials met with their EU counterparts to discuss economic challenges and prepare for a future leaders' summit. Meanwhile, European stock markets navigated a volatile week. Investor anxiety about the Israel-Iran situation initially drove markets downward. As fears of US intervention eased, shares recovered midweek. Despite this rebound, European stocks ultimately closed lower for the week. Dan Storper, the founder of Putumayo World Music, passed away at 74, leaving behind a legacy of popularizing world music. His label achieved remarkable success, distributing 35 million compilation CDs internationally. Meanwhile, the United States faces hurdles in international trade. Negotiations with Japan failed to produce a tariff agreement. Simultaneously, the U.S. has warned the United Kingdom about potential new duty rates. These trade tensions could benefit China's global trade standing. Europe. Germany's military now considers Russia an existential risk to itself and Europe, as reported by Spiegel. Producer prices in Germany experienced a year-over-year decrease of 1.2% in May. Data. In entrepreneurial news, German startup Nora Robotics is exploring raising up to €1 billion. Turning to the United Kingdom, stocks have seen gains amidst fluctuating consumer confidence data, presenting a complex economic outlook. Adding to the activity, a UK mining company has increased its offer for an Australian competitor to $128 million. In France, support is being provided for a $1.55 billion capital raise for Eutelsat, a rival to Starlink, resulting in a 31% jump in Eutelsat stock value. Italy's market watchdog is calling for improved coordination with the ECB as banking deals increase. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, Microsoft complied with a Trump executive order by suspending the email account of an international criminal court prosecutor investigating Israel for war crimes. Switzerland has decided to lift its economic sanctions against Syria. A new COVID variant, Nimbus, has been detected in Switzerland. The potential cost of us F-35 jets for Switzerland could exceed an additional $1 billion. Shifting to Luxembourg, Coinbase has obtained an EU crypto license and is relocating its primary hub from Ireland to Luxembourg. From Armenia, concerns have been raised in Moscow that the country's integration into the EU could lead to the closure of its airspace to Russia. Lastly, in Spain, Indra is downplaying any Franco-German disagreements regarding the development of a joint fighter jet. Asia. China represents a gigawatt-a-year market for Trina Solar, a Chinese company. In Singapore, cash remains a significant payment method in some banking sectors. Singapore members. Club 1880 is attempting to revive its firm. From Brazil, Chinese delivery giant Meituan is planning a $1 billion investment to establish its presence. Pakistan has signed $4.50 billion in loan agreements with local banks aimed at easing its power sector debt. Kazakhstan is actively seeking stronger ties with Korean capital markets through the IFC governor. Azerbaijan is working to attract Korean manufacturing to the Free Economic Zone, FEZ, according to its chairman. South Korea is involved in discussions with both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. Kazakhstan is seeking increased connections with Korean capital markets through the IFC governor, and Azerbaijan is eager to attract Korean manufacturing to the Free Economic Zone, FEZ, according to its chairman. The Middle East witnessed an oil tanker collision near the Strait of Hormuz, raising security concerns amid reports of increased GPS interference. The UAE stated the incident was unrelated to the Israel-Iran conflict, and Asian shares are mixed in oil gains as the world waits to see if the U.S. will join Israel's war against Iran. Africa. South Africa is a crucial market for China's Trina Solar. The South African rand has strengthened as worries about us involvement in the Middle East have diminished. The Reserve Bank has issued a warning to South African banks, international relations and security concerning the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Kyiv is urging Western nations to isolate Moscow, following Putin's claim that all of Ukraine belongs to Russia. The Israel-Iran conflict has sparked concerns about potential U.S. involvement. The UAE stated that the oil tanker collision near the Strait of Hormuz was not related to the conflict between Israel and Iran. Adding to international legal matters, Microsoft suspended the email account of an international criminal court prosecutor investigating Israel for war crimes in compliance with a Trump executive order. Commodities and agriculture. In the cattle market, CME live cattle prices have decreased due to liquidation and profit-taking, suggesting a possible peak in beef prices. Import suspensions from Mexico have impacted feeder cattle prices. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.